What is the Witch's Road specifically?
He's likable. He's literally Satan MT. He's the devil. He's the MCU devil. And you're like, he's pretty likable.
Oh, wait, now I get it. I get it now. I understand.
Greetings, Palaxians. Today on the Bounty Board, our coven is facing the third episode and first witch trial of Agatha All Along. So kick up that warp drive and let's punch it.
Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is MT, and I'm here with two of my wonderful friends, Whitney Van Laningham and Mr. Brett Turley. What's going on, gang?
Sup, witches?
I love your intro, Brett. It's like,
Yeah, what's Brett's Wanda name? What do we call Brett? I don't know. Drop suggestions for Brett's Wanda name in the comments.
Because I'm House of MT.
Yeah, House of MT, Scarlet Wit, and then we have Tom de Maximoff. So we need another one.
But in the meantime, let us talk about Agatha All Along, episode 3, an episode that got wild and wet and people died.
Yeah.
I can't believe that there's a water slide on the Witch's Road. Number one.
I mean,
Number
why
two.
not?
I can't believe that they sent a corpse down a water slide. That violates like every law at Six Flags Hurricane Harbor. That is just every health code violation at a water park that you can possibly imagine. Don't send a corpse down a water slide. If you take nothing away from Guardians of the Palaxy, take that away.
The water slide looked rough, too. It looked like the actors did not have a good time going.
It looked like a water slide from Action Park.
Yeah.
You know that old defunct water park in like New Jersey or whatever. The Class Action Park is what they used to call it.
That's where the Witch's Road is.
Dude, that's where
park.
the Witch's Road leads to Action Park. That's where their destination is.
Oh my God. But this first house was a freaking trip, man. Like, obviously the episode begins where, the episode 2 left off. We have the witches on the road. Teen is very excited to be on the road with his new gal pals. And they walk down the road and oh my God, there's a house on the beach. But what is this house? A mysterious house. First of all, we get this like interesting design on the door. It's like this moon design. But like around the moon, there are 12 little moons that like indicate like 12 phases of the moon, even though like technically I think there's 8 in science, but like I think in astrology there's 12. But yeah, no, the ladies enter the house and they find some interesting wine.
Yeah, they had just a bottle of red. And I love that Miss Kitty Foreman just busts into it and downs a glass. I saw rumors online. I didn't see them actually. Brett saw rumors online that people were saying like, oh, maybe she's an alcoholic because her husband died and this is how she's been dealing with WandaVision. No, that's how I drink a glass of wine. I don't think she's an alcoholic. I think that she's a party girl. And I think that you got a 365 party girl, as Charlie X6 would say.
The wine specifically is like obviously some really weird wine. Like it causes you to like your face in flames, like you went through a horrible plastic surgery in California.
The yassification of the Witch's Road is brutal. It is a brutal Botox session. I loved that the whole house was only stocked with Jen's shitty face creams. I loved that detail. I thought that was so funny. And then they all have these like facial deformity meltdowns where they all look like Real Housewives. And I loved that little connection between this is the house of shitty face stuff.
But like a weird thing that I did want to talk about is like the bottle of wine itself. Because like I did have like a weird sort of theory about that now that I'm thinking about it. Because like the bottle of wine is called, I brought it up in my breakdown of episode 3.
Yeah, we watched it.
Spoilers. Side note thing.
Please go watch. He calls the Darkhold the Devil's Dirty Dictionary, and it fucking killed me. That's the best name for the Darkhold I've ever heard. The Devil's Dirty Dick.
That was the first name before they changed it. Capon was picky man. But anyway, yeah, no, like the actual wine is called a reina, which means queen in Spanish. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so like if it's a red wine that's called Queen, and like, yeah, it was bred in 2016, which was like around the time that like the Scarlet Witch first started to become hated around the world. I think that this wine could actually represent like possibly chaos magic and like how chaos magic makes you like have visions and all that stuff. Like much like in Avengers Age of Ultron, the women of this episode had all these like fearful visions. I wonder if this was like an intentional thing to like make this wine sort of modeled after Wanda.
Yeah,
but
it could be Wanda wine. I would slurp that Wanda wine all day. Gimme, nom 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 nom.
That's what Vision said.
The question is like, okay, what is the Witch's Road, right? Because there's like, it has some form of sentience behind it, right?
Right.
It knows if you sit down.
It knows
if you take a little break to rest your tootsies for a second, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You are fucked.
It's also got like a sense of humor, and it like is aware that it's on Disney Plus and it can't give a bottle of wine to a teenager. And
I loved that part because it's like these are just a coven of witches, and like they're supposed to be like demonic and evil and of the devil, and they're still like no underage drinking. No, we don't do that on the road.
That's irresponsible.
On the road.
Agatha may have eaten a child, but we draw a line.
We absolutely draw the line at teen drinking. That is not okay.
Oh my god! But like this whole like episode was basically like about fears and like about each of these women's particular fears. But like the most interesting of all of these visions that we get in this episode is of course when Lilia has her little weird flashback of like this retro, probably like around the time that she was probably born, like 450 years ago, in the 1600s. Where, like she follows this like retro looking woman in a yellow dress to like what's like a kitchen, I don't know, like just like a little dining area where a corpse woman is sitting on a table, and behind this corpse woman is this skeletal figure that looks a lot like the cosmic entity Death in the Marvel comics. I don't know if that's Death specifically, but like
it has to be. This is like a witch show, so we're going into the cosmology of like Marvel, and then also like you don't have like a lady skeleton. It's got to be Death. I think it's Death for sure.
Do you think Deadpool's just going to pop out in the next episode and just him and Lady Death just start going to town on each other's genitals? Yeah. Because I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would
get
love
a little
it.
On the road. What's on the road? You can be who you want to be. You can be an entirely different person. Feel free to explore a little.
Exactly. Like, I would love if randomly fucking Deadpool and Thanos just showed up and just started fighting over Death. That'd be just so funny.
I do think while we're just talking about Lilia, I really love that they're like very clearly she like emigrated because like she's speaking Italian, so it's like, and she's talking about like being friends with like the witch from Hansel and Gretel. So it's like, oh, she's a European witch, which is really interesting. Because I feel like all the other witches are very clearly American witches. It's nice to be like getting this sort of vantage point of. Well, I mean, I guess Alice is also like Eastern witches. She's Chinese. Right. But yeah, it's cool that they're covering witches from all over the world and like they're diving into witch lore from all over. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting, and I just wonder, do you guys have any theories about what like Lilia's vision might be? Because we've heard her, she's done this like several times, and it's all usually involving Agatha. She also has like a weirdo random moment where she just goes, I love you guys. And it's like, it's very Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, No Way Home coded, in my opinion. But she just, I love you guys is everyone on the Witch's Road.
That's so
and that
true.
Doesn't seem like something that was coming from her. It felt like that was coming from her like premonitions. So I wonder what this big event that she's going to have to like save Agatha from, where she's also telling the other characters that she loves them. Is that like foreshadowing her death? Is that foreshadowing, like, does she sacrifice herself to save Agatha? And the I love you guys was part of her saying goodbye to the rest of the coven. What do you guys think?
I don't think the voice is her. I think she's definitely being a medium for someone else. And my theory is, I think it's teen. I think this is Teen using magic at the end of the series to send a message back and sort of like being like, okay, here's the puzzle that we have. Like, I'm sending this message through Lilia, and it's going to involve his reveal that he is probably Wiccan, is my guess. I think we are getting Wiccan sending messages back using magic.
That's cool. I like that idea.
I like that. I like the idea that it's Wiccan, and I definitely agree that like there is some type of weird time something happening with Lilia. Like she's getting messages from the future,
from the beyond,
and like she has like a weird antenna for like receiving messages. So like I'm wondering if like some weird like multiverse saga time stuff is going to factor in because of that, which would be super interesting.
Hell yeah, we're in the multiverse saga, baby. We haven't left. We might get some of that, a little multiverse hop.
I think that like, you know, Lilia could just be receiving messages from herself from the future. I mean, it could be Wiccan, which would be super rad to see like Wiccan stunt like that hardcore in this debut series. But like, I think it's just like, because like her powers are like very like clairvoyant. Yeah. It's just like, all right, I think that because of that and her old age, she's sort of like, her consciousness is sort of like jumping through time to like different points in her own past. And so like her future self probably like has seen all the terrible stuff that has happened to like, you know, the witches along the road. It's just like, oh my God, now I'm here. I need to tell you guys that I love you guys because like some of you guys are going to die.
Seriously.
And like, you know, like we had a bonding moment in the future, but like, you know,
that's why I think it's Wiccan, because I'm just like that. She doesn't love those guys.
You just Wiccan being like, I love you guys. Yeah. I am a gay teen hanging out with a bunch of fabulous older women, and I love you guys.
I just want to say, let me just start by saying I love you guys. Also, we should save Agatha.
Honestly, like it would be super rad if it was teen. Like I love that idea a lot. We should also talk about, you know, obviously Alice and her mother and her vision. She goes to like this weird sauna area and like her mother's inside and she's like, oh my God, I try to protect you.
Mommy.
I can't protect you. And like, she just sort of like freaks out. I found that like this idea of like a mother witch using like witchcraft to try to like protect her child, but she can't, to be super interesting and like, you know, very heartbreaking. And I'm wondering how that's going to like manifest in the future. And like, if we're actually going to see Lorna Wu, like like somewhere along this road, because I think like she might have died on the Witch's Road or something like that, or at least that's the rumor anyway. So like, but like in the comics, the Witch's Road is like this plane outside of time and space where like any witch from any point in time could sort of like pop up. So like, it doesn't really matter what point in time you came from. Like we could probably like see an old ass witch that's dead in the real Earth time just pop up in the road, be like, all right, I'm just popping on the road for the first time.
Oh, that's interesting.
My soul lives on the road, baby. My soul is an open road. Yeah, I do think that that's interesting. My kind of theory about that is, you know, just picking up on what the episode told us. I guess it's not really a theory; it's just interpreting. But I think that kind of like what ended up happening is Alice has that tattoo, that like protective charm on her that her mom put on her. And it's because her mom was so afraid of this family curse. And all of the women in her family are cursed. And so I think that this was the moment, like, I think that Alice is witnessing the moment that her mom knew she needed to go on the Witch's Road because she felt her mother die, even though she wasn't around and she didn't, you know, she could feel her from thousands of miles away. And I think that that's when the curse became like real for her. And I think that in order to protect Alice, she had to go down the Witch's Road because she knew her mom died. She knew her time was limited and she didn't want Alice's time to be limited too. So I think that that's why she went onto the Witch's Road. Maybe she's dead. She died trying to find a way to protect her daughter. But I think that that's kind of like how she got onto the Witch's Road in the first place. I think that she was looking for a way to save Alice.
I really like that. Like it definitely feels plausible for damn sure.
I think so. I don't know. We'll find out.
That's just like the love of a mother, man. Like I feel like she just really spent her entire life just like dedicated towards like making sure that her daughter didn't meet the same fate that her grandmother did. And I think that's like super beautiful.
Yeah.
Brett earlier asked that, like, what is the Witch's Road specifically? which is like a really good question because like it seems like, I mean, in my opinion, like it seems like this is like another example of an MCU afterlife, but not actually an afterlife because obviously this is not where people go when they die.
Yeah.
But like in the sense that like maybe humans created this plane because they believe so hard in it. Someone like must have invented like this myth of the Witch's Road. Then over time, all these witches started believing it, and so like it created. Much like, Valhalla or like, Rocket's afterlife in Guardians 3, where like all those little animals believed in like the sky being like their ultimate like goal. Yeah. So like they created like this sky world from their own like
for them to
wants
go to.
in their minds. And so like maybe like because all these witches believe in the Witch's Road, it became real. And so like now it's like this like separate like metaphysical plane only for witches because only they believe in this plane.
Magic manifested as a physical location, which like kind of tracks with how magic like works in like the Wiccan sense.
It also could have formed out of a necessity because witches were being so persecuted. It's possible that the Witch's Road first appeared because not only because they like manifested it, but because they needed it. So it manifested itself like in their hour of need. Maybe at the time, witches needed somewhere to go to hide. And in order to do that, they had to walk this Witch's Road and go through a separate set of like trials and tribulations because you can't just escape anything in life. You still got to answer for some shit. So maybe the Witch's Road was like put there as a way for them to escape persecution, but also have to like prove themselves worthy of their witchiness, witchhood.
The big question to me is still like the road itself feels like it has intentionality behind it.
It feels like, almost sentient, like it knows things.
It like then as I said before, it has a sense of humor. So like, who is the wizard behind the curtain?
Right.
Yeah. If this is Oz, who's the wizard behind the curtain that's making all of this happen?
Is it Mephisto because we're starting to name drop Mephisto? Is it Aubrey Plaza?
Aubrey Plaza, not Rio. Aubrey Plaza.
Just Aubrey Plaza.
Just the actress Aubrey Plaza is technically pulling the strings behind the Witch's Road.
Shadow King? Come on.
Yes,
we all remember that scene.
Oh my God. If you got like a Shadow King reference in this series, that would be very satisfying. But yeah, like I'm just wondering what is behind all this weird phenomenon, like in this universe, like who's sort of orchestrating all of this. Like, I don't know who it could be. I mean, it does sound like a very Mephisto thing to do.
That is a very good question. Do you want to know another good question I have? Who is our sponsor for today's fake ad?
I believe it's Staples. Just kidding.
This episode is brought to you by Windmill Bubble Wrap.
Good Lord, I am tired of taking my afternoon runs near the windmills and getting cut up by all of these windmill blades. Thank God we have Windmill Bubble Wrap, so that every time I go out and run, I cover up the blades of the windmill with bubble wrap so that every time I get hit by them, I don't get cut. Super safe for the kids. If you got babies attached to your body while you're running, they won't get hurt.
Thanks to Windmill Bubble Wrap, you can throw a baby into a windmill and it will survive.
It'll be perfectly fine. I've tried it with 50 babies. Only 49 lived. Okay, a full 49 lived, which is good. 99.9%, like every Lysol.
Baby test empty approved.
And for the really big adrenaline seekers out there that like a challenge, you can just grab onto one of these windmill blades while it's turning and then pop the bubble wrap while you're hanging on for your life. It's fun and really relaxing. Everyone likes popping bubble wrap.
Very fun sensory experience. As a fidget toy, Windmill Bubble Wrap is great.
Windmill Bubble Wrap, 10 out of 10. Brought to you by Staples.
Brought to you by
Staples.
So I started going through our fake ads and cutting out any real brands because we did the Frito-Lay holiday and my dad thought we were actually sponsored by Frito-Lay and he bought himself a bag of Fritos and just sent me an image of it and I was like, what is this? And he's like, I'm on holiday.
Yeah, he sent us a picture of Fritos with the caption, "I'm on holiday." And that's how we learned that Brett's dad thought we were actually sponsored by Frito-Lay.
Supporting the channel by buying Frito-Lay. That's
so
hilarious.
This is a shout out to Mark. No, Windmill Bubble Wrap is not sponsored by Staples, just to clarify.
Yes. Staples has no affiliation. I actually used to work for Staples for like 2 weeks before I quit, which is
a whole
different story.
MT, brought to you by Staples.
Probably everything I know about breaking things down. But yes.
Yes. Okay. Transition.
Yes. Now back to Agatha All Along episode 3. Like we briefly mentioned before, obviously one of the biggest things in this episode is the mention of Mephisto, who is finally confirmed the MCU, which is really great for like the potential future of the MCU. Obviously, like there are rumors. Is it okay to talk about rumors? Like we talk.
Yeah,
like,
we can. Like, you talking about Sacha Baron Cohen?
Right.
Yeah.
There are rumors that Sacha Baron Cohen is going to be involved in the MCU as Mephisto, and that he's going to be in this series and in Ironheart, which makes sense considering that, you know, the villain of Ironheart is one of my favorite villains, the Hood. Oh my God, the Hood's going to be amazing. Freaking
the Hood's fucking cool, dude.
He's rad as hell, bro. I've been dying for the Hood. Give him his own freaking series. I want him like in the MCU forever. He's so freaking cool. But like obviously, it seems like Mephisto is going to be the main man moving forward, which sort of makes sense because, like, you know, people like him. Like, he's more of a recognizable name. It excites people.
He's likable. You know, he's literally Satan MT. He's the devil. He's the Satan. MCU devil. And you're like, he's pretty likable. He's a likable guy. People like him.
If my religious Haitian mother listened to this podcast, she would freak out. She'd be like, oh my God, my son loves the devil.
But no, he loves the guy in a hood that made a deal with the devil.
Exactly.
It's different, Mom.
It's different, Mom. It's like the Trinity for the devil.
Me.
Yeah.
But like, I'm wondering if, like, you know, Agatha actually did make this deal with like Mephisto to trade her son, and like what that actually meant for her son. Like, is her son actually dead? Is her son like just written out of like Agatha's past, like, you know, a la, you know, Peter Parker and Mary Jane in the comics when they gave up their marriage to save Aunt May's life? I'm just wondering how Mephisto factored into Agatha's past, if he actually did, and where the hell Nicholas Scratch is. Like, is he like actually dead, or is he just like, you know, is he possibly the Teens character? What if like Sacha Baron Cohen himself is Nicholas Scratch? Like, he just like, Mephisto's like, all right, I'll take this body because, like, you know, it's a nice little human body for me to walk around Earth in, and like human now suit. I'm Nicholas Scratch. Yeah, it's like his human like flesh suit that he got. From
He's
Agatha.
wearing a Nicholas Scratch kigurumi, just walking around town.
I got this online.
I got this on Amazon for $49.99.
Yeah, I think Nicholas Scratch has to play a huge role in this series because they keep bringing him up, right?
They bring him up nonstop. I don't think that the teen is going to be Nicholas Scratch because I think that the show is leaning so hard into hinting that he is. I think that the show is trying to like convince us that he's Nicholas Scratch, but he's going to end up being Billy/Wiccan. That's my opinion on it. I also think it's really interesting based on Agatha's reaction when she was having her little hallucination and she walks over to the baby's cradle and she realizes that it's the Darkhold. It's the devil's dirty dictionary, not her sweet, beautiful, bouncing baby boy. And she freaks out, rightfully so. But what I think is really interesting about that scene is the commentary on the way that women are perceived in society and the way that women's like grief and trauma is perceived in society. I think it's very interesting that all of these other witches have just leaned into and bought into the rumor that, oh, she sold her son to Mephisto or she sold her son to the devil in exchange for the Darkhold. But her reaction when she like saw the cradle, she like, you know, she kind of breaks down. She's like almost crying. She's getting upset about it. In addition to that, every single time the teen is like about to do something dangerous, she like throws up like, you know, like the mom arm, like when you're driving in the car with your mom and you're going to come to like a sudden stop and your mom like arm seatbelts you. She keeps doing that to the teen. So like when he like reaches for the wine, she's like, no. And I think that is showing us that she is a protective mother, that she was a protective mother to her son. I think that something really horrible must have happened to her son. I don't think that it was as easy as, oh, she's just evil and she sold him to the highest bidder for the Darkhold. Like, I don't think that that's the answer. I think that something like really fucked up happened to her and that this was somehow her only option and somehow this ended up happening and it's not what she intended to happen. I think that that's why she's like still so upset about it. But I do think that it's like, it is a very interesting commentary on the way that we, you know, treat women, the way that we are so much quicker to just say, oh, she's crazy. She's being hysterical. She probably just killed her baby, whatever. We're so quick to say that. And we're so quick to buy into those rumors because they're believable, because it's believable. Oh, Agatha's a really bad person. Of course she sold her son for the Darkhold. Of course that's what she did. But the rumors have to be true. And it kind of reminded me, Brett and I have been watching this show called Hacks recently. Pals who haven't seen it, it's very good.
Yeah, check out Hacks.
It's about an aging comedian who has a residency in Vegas. And in order to refresh her act, she hires like a younger up and coming comedy writer to help her. And part of like this character's backstory, her name is Deborah Vance. Once upon a time, she was married to this very successful, famous Hollywood actor. And they got a divorce, they split up, and his house caught on fire. And the rumor for the last like 30 years about this woman is that she set his house on fire and that it was her fault and that she set the house on fire because she was going to be dramatic and get back at him. So ever since that rumor started, she leans into it. So she'll go on talk shows and they'll be like, ha ha, so about that time you burned your husband's house down. And she's like, ha ha, that's just me. I'm crazy. And she like leans into it so much. And then at one point you find out she did not set her husband's house on fire, but because this is the way that we talk about women and because these rumors get so out of hand, sometimes as a woman, in order to reclaim that power for yourself, you do lean into the rumor because there's nothing else you can do. Like denying it won't work. Talking about it won't work. So sometimes you become the villain that people say you are just in order, like just so that you don't have to keep explaining yourself and just so that you don't have to keep arguing with people who are going to think that about you anyways. So I thought that that was really interesting. I think that Agatha is going through a similar experience where all of these rumors are that she sold her baby for the Darkhold. But in reality, I think that something really traumatic happened to her. And instead of facing that trauma and like facing her grief and sadness in the, you know, like Wanda did, where she faced her grief and sadness and look at all the bullshit that happened when she did that. So I think that Agatha hasn't faced her grief, hasn't faced her trauma, and instead has just been leaning further and further into the trope that she's this fearsome witch who would sell her own child just for the Darkhold. Like, I think that she's been leaning into that rumor and perpetuating that rumor so that she doesn't have to face what actually happened. So that's my theory.
I do like that a lot. I like the idea of like this being a commentary on like, you know, how rumors like sort of spread and like, you know, start. But I also like how like it's also like a commentary on how rumors are sort of like really apathetic towards the struggle of the person that, you know, they're talking about. Because like Wanda, you know, for all intents and purposes, was addicted to drugs. Like she found the Darkhold, and the Darkhold itself is a very addictive substance that really messes with your mind. We saw it with Wanda. Like Wanda did not act like herself when she had that, you know, the Devil's Dirty Dictionary. And so like, you know, when you're in that type of position, you do some crazy stuff to satisfy your own need for like, you know, whatever you're fixing for. Like, you know, people out there are like, you know, crackheads be selling their babies for more crack. It's like, all right, here's my baby. I don't need this anymore. Like, give me some more crack. And like, that's essentially what happened. Like, you know, these women see like a witch that's addicted to like, you know, power. It's like, oh yeah, she probably, you know, did that anyway because you know, that's what crackheads usually do. Like they sell their babies for crack. It's just like, all right,
no, exactly.
Where's the compassion? I mean, obviously Agatha was was a murderer,
She's a murderer. I mean, I'm not giving
Agatha
a free pass on all the murdering. I am not. It's still murder, even if you have a dead kid. But like, I think that something happened to her kid. I think that that's why she carries his hair in a locket, because I do think that that's her son's hair. And I think that she carries it in the locket because it's a hope that she has that she can either find a way to bring him back to life, or that she can still have some sort of power over him by holding her hair. And that little strand of hair in that locket gives her hope. And that's what keeps driving her to, to exist. Because it sucks. It sucks when people die and you do change. You become a different person. You stop existing the way that you once did. Grief just does that to people. I mean, again, look at Wanda. She held an entire town hostage because she was so fucked up over Vision's death.
And I think that's ultimately like kind of what this series is also about at the end of the day, right? I think this being sort of like the pseudo season 2 of WandaVision, I think this is now looking at grief through Agatha's perspective. And yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. But
thanks. I'm a smart lady.
Yes, you are a very smart lady. And like I like how Brett brought up how like, these WandaVision like type series are about grief, because like I feel like Vision Quest, I mean, obviously we don't know much about Vision Quest like right now.
They're like supposed to be like a trilogy though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But like the title Vision Quest just like seems like, all right, Vision's gonna go on a path of self-discovery, maybe even like grieving, like losing a part of himself when he got like,
the loss of oneself is definitely grief that the MCU should examine, because that's such a common superhero problem, is losing pieces of yourself when you have to save the world. So yeah, I'm down. I'm down to watch Vision go through therapy. All men should go to therapy. Vision is no exception.
100%.
Get white Vision in therapy.
Hashtag get white Vision in therapy. That'll be the hashtag for the show when it comes out. Yeah, anyway, sorry. We should probably move forward with the episode. And obviously after this, the gang get all their ingredients for this concoction that they need to make a antidote for the poison that they drank. Like a lot of people online are sort of like being babies about like, oh, they didn't use like, really like the Eye of Newt or like really gross stuff for like this concoction. They use like real like modern day stuff to make this, but like that's how it would realistically work in the modern time. Like we're not in the olden ages where like, all right, yeah, we're gonna use like raw animal products and like raw minerals and all that stuff. It's like, all right, let's just think about where these things would be in like actual real life stuff. Like, all right, there's petroleum and petroleum jelly, and that's like a good substitute for whatever.
Yeah, and that's commentary on how everyone was so afraid of witches. They feared these women, and like very common healers and like alewives for some reason were targeted as being witches.
Yeah, they even mentioned alewives in the episode. Yeah, the reason why alewives were targeted as witches is primarily because they were able to make money without men involved.
Yeah. So they were able to make money without men. The ultimate sin. Oh God. Hate it when women have their own funds. Gross. Get those credit cards out of here, ladies. Oh, let your husband buy it for you. Gross. What if I was like that in real life? Fuck. No. Anyways. So basically like the women that were targeted with these witch hunts, like back in like the 16th century, especially, they were healers, they were alewives, they were women who made things and who like, brewed things up. So that could be medication that they were making because they were healers. It could be like, how medication was made in the olden days. You couldn't pop a Tylenol. You would have to go out and find something in nature that would help you. And then that's how we have Tylenol today, is because people in the past found stuff that were pain relievers, chemicals. We figured it out. We smashed some stuff together, and now you can pop a little tie for your hangover if you want to. So I think that the commentary in that scene that I really like is the proof that witches were never doing weird, gross, witchcraft shit, they were always using these normal ingredients and people just thought that they were doing evil for no fucking reason. Like all of this stuff that they're making, it all comes from nature because that's how food and medicine just work in general. That's how we got stuff that we eat and drink and consume that we use to heal our bodies and fix ourselves and feed ourselves. That's how we found that stuff out. And women were just persecuted because like they found a really good salve for mosquito bites before men did or something like that. I don't fucking know.
Another ultimate sin.
Another ultimate sin.
Discover it first.
Men invented Band-Aids. Fuck that. Johnson and Johnson. It's not Betsy Johnson and Betsy Johnson. It's just Johnson and Johnson. Men rule.
So 2 things with this potions thing. One, it's very clear in this episode that they're leading into like, oh, this is like a witch's code. It's kind of like thieves can't. It's just like they purposefully obscure what they're talking about so that other people can't like steal their secrets. And like there's a barrier that they're putting up so that you need to have knowledge from the coven and passed down onto you before you can perform magic that might not be like safe for people who don't have the knowledge.
Keep amateurs out of magic. There's a double black diamond sign on the magic door for a reason. Get back to the bunny slopes, you amateur magicians. Go back to asking people if this is their card on the Las Vegas Strip. We don't need you. We don't need you in this coven. Get out of here, Chris Angel, you mind freak.
The other thing I think that like this show is leaning into with its magic is also that the ingredients sort of matter. It's not the chemistry that matters to these potions. It's like the spirituality and the intention behind stuff. And I think that's really how these potions are made. And it's not necessarily, oh, you need like the bile sac of a frog because it has like the certain types of bile. I think there's more metaphorical and like spiritual like connotations to these potions.
I mean, that house was basically like a giant escape room. So they were just having to look for their own clues. And I agree with you, Brad. The ingredients mattered, but like how you got them there didn't. So like, fuck yeah, throw in a bunch of shitty face cream and some teenager blood. Why not? Let's drink that. Drink up, boys. It's happy hour. I think that it is based on their intention. It is based on where they want to go. Yeah, I think that they could have poured gasoline in or face cream and it would have had the same result.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of potions, we're running out of time here. We talked about everyone else, but this really was like Jennifer's episode.
Oh yeah, Jennifer Kale.
Yeah, because this was her escape room, and I'm sure we're going to see the Earth escape room next. Would be my guess. Yeah. Do we want to talk about Jennifer?
Yeah. Who was that creepy chef guy from her nightmare?
Yeah.
Ratatouille as a man. Is that you? Did you get wild shaped by a druid into a man and now you're haunting Jen?
He was given Dr. Frankenstein vibes, right?
Yeah, he was hella giving some Dr. Frankenfurter vibes.
But like part of me feels like, this guy, he might not be, I mean, either he's someone specific from Jennifer Kale's past that like, she ran into, but like, I feel like he's supposed to represent probably just like mankind in general and how like mankind fears the power of like witches and women in general. It's just like, all right, you're an inconvenient woman for like all the things that you can do, but that we can't do. So like, I'm going to, try to drown you because you what you can do makes me scared. And so like, I feel like, Jennifer Kale specifically feels more vulnerable than other witches because like she's been bound. And so like she feels like she's scared of being an easy target to human beings because she has no magic. And like, she doesn't have any faith in her own abilities, like outside of magic, which is like, obviously what Agatha tries to encourage her to do. It's like, all right, just because you don't have magic doesn't mean you're useless. You can still like be, a great witch and like, practice witchcraft, even if you don't have like the sparkly stuff shooting out of your hands. Yeah, I think that he's just some random guy that's supposed to represent mankind's malice towards, you know, capable women, capable witches in general. But who knows? Maybe it could be someone important.
Do we know how her powers are bound?
Not yet. I think that's still like a mystery.
Agatha specifically said that it was a glamour, which is a type of like match. So like, you know, they have like sigils, they have charms, they have glamours. So like she did specifically say that. So it would have to be a witch who can cast glamours. So that's what we know about who did it to her. Maybe it's that guy. Maybe it's Human Man Ratatouille. I don't know. I do think that you're right, MT, in that like toxic, shitty men who don't want women to be successful love to tell us that we're difficult and inconvenient and annoying. And it's like, that's just code word for you're a little pussy ass bitch who doesn't want me getting a paycheck. And I'm getting a paycheck. So fuck off. Women and men can do the same things. It's fine. It's fine. Let us have checkbooks.
I don't know the character of Jennifer Kale very well, but I did a cursory Google, which is always a great way to start an informed theory.
The old CG cursory Google.
Yeah.
But she was a apprentice to a male wizard. So I'm wondering if this was also the guy who bound her powers. And
I think it could be, yeah.
And he may have done it because she was surpassing him.
Which she was probably a bad bitch and he couldn't handle it.
Oh man, I like that possibility a whole lot. Like just like a really pissed off master. It's like, you can't surpass me, like the dark side. It's like, no, you can't go be stronger than me, Darth Maul. Time to die. I wonder if like we'll actually end up seeing Jennifer Kale, you know, be part of the Midnight Suns after this series, because like she is part of that group in the comics. So like I wonder if this is just like setting her up for, you know, Midnight Suns type activities, but who knows? We don't even know what her magic even looks like unbound.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't.
She kind of needs her magic unbound.
Out.
Oh, but I guess I don't know. Like it'd be interesting to see like if she became like a potions only superhero. Like that'd be like kind of wild. It's like, all right, no powers, just potions.
That would be sick. That'd be so fun.
A lot of shards of glass.
That. Just a lot of shards of glass and she throws bottles at people.
Her sidekick's just a guy with a broom, and he's got a
cleaning up the mess.
It's like
they're witches. They fly on brooms. That would work.
Oh my god! Yes, it's another witch with the broomstick, and she has to clean up after Jen. Yes. Yeah. Okay, I'm here for it. Funny. That makes perfect sense, and that's a real theory, and that's really happening to the MCU. Put it on Reddit, baby. Put it on Reddit. It's a spoiler now.
Her sidekick has to be Mickey Mouse with the little cone hat. And he does like the thing to make the brooms.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorcerer Mickey and Jen forever.
Oh my god, that'd be so fun.
I love that collab. I can get behind that collab.
But of course, to finish up the episode, make the antidote for everyone, and they give some to Miss Sharon, but apparently it was not enough. And Sharon passes away.
My theory about why Sharon died, even though they technically got the stuff in her mouth, I think it's because they forgot to pull one of her hairs out when they were doing the hair thing. So I think that they didn't drink her hair, and that's why she died and nobody else did.
That's a really, really great detail.
Because they basically almost forgot she was on the table until they noticed the timer was still ticking. And then they were like, oh shit, Sharon, we got to give her the potion. So I don't think that they remembered to pull her hair out. So I think that because she was missing, like her ingredient was missing. So when she drank it, she wasn't protected because it didn't have like her.
Bro, imagine being the last thing that like you experience, just drinking that horrible concoction of like teenager blood.
And then being thrown down a water slide.
Thrown down a water slide.
Yo, poor Sharon, completely confused. She was just gardening one day. She's like, hey, want to go to a party?
Yeah, this poor woman. Although you guys, I really want to say, if when I die, please please chuck my body down a water slide. That would be so funny. Just Weekend at Bernie's me all the way up to the top of like the Venom plunge at Hurricane Harbor and just let me go. Just let me float away into the wind.
It's like at the bottom of the slide is like your grave. It's like
I slide right into the grave and then you just cover it with dirt. Perfect ending. I think that that works for me. Thanks, guys.
Do we think she's gone for good?
Nobody's ever gone for good in the MCU. They're bringing back fucking Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I think that's a special.
No one's ever dead in the MCU.
Oh my God. We'll be seeing Sharon again as Hela soon.
Yeah. Honestly, fun choice.
That would be so funny. But I think that like, I mean, just judging by like, you know, this narrative being very close to the Wizard of Oz, I feel like this story is going to end with like everyone sort of like getting what they need and like sort of like a happy ending. Like, all right, like even though like we might see like witches die throughout the course of like this road, I feel like the end will be like whenever they meet like the Oz figure or like whenever they actually get to the road, I think Agatha will end up being like, you know what, I could get power, but like I just want my friends back because I made all these connections and like I'm a good person now.
Girl power.
Then, like,
it's the friends we made along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
And she'll be like, I want all my friends to be alive again. And be like, all right, now time to go home. And then like they all hold hands
and Sharon gets to go back to playing canasta with her normal neighbors.
Exactly. It would be a really bold choice to keep Sharon dead because like it's just like, oh shit, like anything can happen in the MCU, like there's stakes, like I like that. But
we know she's so important in the comics.
Yeah, you know how Sharon has her own run of comics and
she's the arms dealer, right?
She's the big mystery benefactor from Ant-Man 2 that everyone's been talking about.
Yes, she's the one who bought Stark Tower.
Oh no! Spoilers!
Stark Tower.
Oh my God. So like, what are you guys' predictions for next week?
Aubrey Plaza is going to show up because not just because we've all seen the promo trailers, but because they lost their Earth Witch and they can't, I don't think that they can continue down the road without one because it was very important that they had all of them there. And like, that kind of doesn't make sense because I'm like, don't bitches die on the Witch's Road like all the time? Like, it seems like a place where you could really just drop dead for any reason. But she's going to show up because Sharon died and they need another green witch for the team.
Yeah, that seems
a heist won't work if you're down a member.
You get one sub. I actually, so like based off of the clips from what we've seen for promo, right? I think they're going to give Sharon a funeral, and I think Sharon's body is going to be kind of like reincorporated into Rio. I think Rio, because like I think we there's a clip of Rio like digging out of a grave. So I think it might be a weird loophole where it's like technically I'm the same.
I hope that when I die, my corpse turns into Aubrey Plaza. That would be fucking sick.
Yeah, they're better. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't mind that for myself.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I'd be into it.
I think we're gonna probably do Earth next, going by Avatar cycle rules.
Yeah, that makes sense. Avatar rules even apply in the MCU. They apply to everything.
Who is the Earth Witch on the team? The Earth Witch would have to be Sharon, so that's perfect.
Yeah, so I think it's Rio.
It's Rio. So it's going to be a Rio-centric episode is my guess.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we're going to figure out why they can't kill each other. And the answer is going to be because they are lesbians who were once in love and now they're not allowed to kill each other. That's what I think. I think that they're too lesbian to kill each other.
That could very well be the thing. They
yeah, because like I bet that they signed in their vows, like, I can't murder you. Funnily enough, Brett and I didn't put that in our vows. Yeah. So I think he's still allowed to murder me, technically. It's still on the table. we haven't taken that off the table yet. But it does seem to be off the table for Rio and Agatha. And I wonder if that's because when they were together, they took some sort of vow that they were not allowed to kill each other.
Well, only time will tell. I cannot wait for next week's episode of Agatha All Along. Like the series is like it's so interesting. Like it just feels like a really fun, intimate journey between friends. And I'm just really excited to see like how, like to learn more about these witches, but more like but also to see like how they all like sort of like begin to gel together. Like I like a good story like that. I like, a group of people that don't really like match, like all of a sudden becoming a family.
Yeah. Found family stories. Found family road trip heist movie. Let's go. I mean, TV show, not movie. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, same thing.
It feels like a movie.
Okay, so I want to do one thing before we end, because we're gonna end. I came up with a very funny Halloween costume. This is
Brett has a Halloween costume that he needs to share.
It's not finished. I have to actually like do stuff, but I want you guys to guess, because I think our audience could guess, and I think they're gonna get a good chuckle out of it. So this is the main piece.
Oh, horse head.
Okay, we got this guy, right? All right.
Turn to the side.
Wait, now I get it now. I understand. It's the Venom Horse.
Yeah,
I did it.
Venom Horse. So Brett's going as Venom Horse for Halloween. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you guys are going to be for Halloween, because we're pals. We share that kind of information here. We really want to know what you're going to be for Halloween. Season. I know, it's already spooky season. It's happening. We're in the death throes of September. October's coming up fast.
Oh my God. Time to get spooky, guys. Time to get real spooky.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care of your pals. Check in on your pals. Love your pals. And we'll see you pals next week. We'll see you farther on down the Witch's Road, baby.
Hey. Bye. Gang. See you guys later.